magnesium for sleep. So you're in Holden Barrett's or you're in a supplement store and you've asked that 16-year-old teenager working behind the counter to sell you some supplements to help you sleep better and to increase your energy levels. You just want that magic pill, right? To give you that great reset. Now he or she will read the manual and recommend something like magnesium. And they'll try to promote that supplement to you, and surprisingly, it'll be on sale. So you've got to buy it, right? So you've got to buy it. You're very happy. You begin to take it, and then you realize you've just spent £20 for absolutely nothing. You've had no change in your symptoms. The worst thing you can do is go into one of these herbal stores and buy supplements without proper research, and essentially, the worst thing you can do is go into these supplement stores and buy supplements you do not need, and in fact could worsen your issue. I know there's a lot of hype around magnesium, especially in relation to sleep improvement and mood. But what does magnesium do for your body? There is some evidence to show that it helps calm you down. It does help to lower your cortisol, and it does help to lower cortisol and adrenaline. It does help to lower cortisol and adrenaline, which are seen as stress hormones. We don't need these hormones kicking in when we're trying to get some shut-eye. But sleep disruption and low energy levels come from many different causes. Magnesium is just one variable that can help with these areas, and it's a very minute variable. Rather than focusing on something so small, why not focus on the major areas? Why not focus on the major areas first that could improve your symptoms? And that just comes with lifestyle changes, and guess what? It's all free, and it might even save you money in the long run. Let's break down what sleep is. Now let's break down what sleep is. As far as sleep goes, I dissect sleep into two main categories. Number one, people that cannot get to sleep, and number two, people that can stay asleep. Now, if you are the type that can go to sleep very easily, then chances are you have a well-tuned parasympathetic nervous system, a well-tuned parasympathetic system. Medical jargon, and all it refers to is your body's nervous system, where you have two main types, your sympathetic and your parasympathetic. With your parasympathetic nervous system, this pushes your body into good, deep, restful sleep. It keeps you calm, and it helps keep you calm, and is mainly responsible for the first part of the sleep, especially the delta wave sleep, especially the deeper delta wave sleep. But the second part of the sleep is more precious. And this part is called the REM sleep, short for rapid eye movement. This part is where you tend to have dreams. People who have higher level of adrenaline or cortisol tend to wake up during this period, especially in the middle of the night, let's say around 2 a.m., where they're awake, and once they're awake, they are wide awake, tossing and turning all night, and before you know it, it's 8 a.m. and it's time to get out of bed. It's not going to be helping your energy levels, is it? So if you look at the circadian wave rhythm of the cortisol hormone, the lowest point should be around 2 a.m. That should not be spiking around that time. And the highest point of this hormone should be around approximately 8 a.m. It varies for certain individuals, but that should be the time where this hormone should be peaking, where you're out of bed and you're ready to tackle the day. But a lot of the times when this cycle is disrupted, this time tends to go backwards. So when your cortisol levels peak, it should be around 8 a.m., they tend to go backwards in time. And if this is all out of sync, you're always going to wake up in the morning not feeling refreshed and not feeling energized. At this point, you're going to be fed up, you're tired, and you rush to the supplement store. You meet young Tom behind the counter who's most likely making a TikTok reel, and you're asking him for help, thinking that magnesium is the magic pill that help you with your sleep regulation and helps lower your cortisol levels. But most of the time, unfortunately, it doesn't, because the actual cause of this high cortisol level is not because the actual cause of this high cortisol level is not common from a lack of magnesium. It's really hard to test for, and it's in terms of blood tests, it's really hard to test for a magnesium deficiency in the blood, because as soon as you test it in the blood, it's not going to show up necessarily unless you are severely deficient. Here's a free advice. Why don't you look at your diet? Are you consuming a lot of foods which contain magnesium, such as green vegetables, dark chocolate, or almonds? And are you consuming way too much carbohydrates in your diet, which consists of refined sugars and grains? Evidence shows that a diet high in refined sugar and grains depletes your magnesium levels. So that is probably the first thing you should be looking at before you rush to the supplement store, or before you go and spend money on things that will not help you. My advice is, don't waste your money on these supplements when you don't need them. Just do this. Number 1, change your diet. Number 2, implement some sort of exercise. Number 3, in terms of sleep, watch out for what stimulants you have throughout the day. Now, if you love coffee, cutting coffee is hard. I know it's part of the diet nowadays. Cutting coffee is hard, I understand, and people love coffee. They don't want to cut it out. So what I do for my clients, what I do for my patients, is I help them I devise them a plan of when they can have coffee throughout the day. Your maximum cutoff point should be 2 p.m. Don't drink any supplements. Don't drink any stimulants past 2 p.m. And just by changing these few things, I promise you, day 1, day 2, day 3, you will notice a massive improvement in your sleep. Day 1 will be hard, but you'll notice these changes kick in. If you don't change these bad habits, then all you're doing, now this is all free advice, if you don't change these bad habits, all you're doing is helping the supplements industry with no benefit to yourselves. Their stocks rise, yours don't, I'm afraid. So don't be fooled by these marketing claims of these special supplements out there. Good luck, implement these changes, and inshallah, you'll see a massive difference. Take care. Assalamu alaikum.